In April of 1942, over 600 German, Japanese, and Italian men who had been rounded up in Mexico and other South American countries arrived here to the Kenedy Alien Detention Camp. It's part of our coastal Bend history most people probably don't know anything about.
He felt that it was a good, well-run camp, and there was not much difficulty, and the local folks around here accepted it.
That's 96-year-old Justin Truett Hunt. He was in the Navy during World War II. His father was a cotton farmer until he ended up with a job as a guard at Camp Kenedy. He stayed until October of 1944 when the internees left and this place became a prisoner of war camp.
POWs were brought in from Europe. I think most of them were Germans, some Italians maybe.
The Germans brought here had fought at the Battle of the Bulge. Later, Japanese prisoners of war were sent to Kenedy. A few years back, Mr. Hunt wrote his memoirs, and his book covers the camp and his own exploits during World War II.
They came along and built this fence around it.
That's Mr. Hunt's son, Truett Lee, looking over the graves of the 5 internees who died at Camp Kenedy. Hunt is the chairman of the county's Historical Commission. These graves were designated as part of a historic Texas cemetery, one of the few remaining reminders of Camp Kenedy. Here in Kenedy, there is a real effort to try and find out more information about this city's rich and colorful past, including the Kenedy internment camp.
Of course, we always hope to find some more, someone's diaries, someone's personal memoirs. So if anybody who sees this has any material on that, our local historical commission and society would love to get hold of it.
Just down the road from the cemetery sits another historic site. This marker lets people know where Camp Kenedy once stood. Back in the 1960s, the camp's buildings were cleared and this place was turned into a housing subdivision. But sitting behind this historic marker is part of the camp's old administration building, which is now someone's home. Behind the house is this. Historians believe it's possibly a rock water fountain built by Japanese internees, men who called Kenedy home during one of the most troubling times in our country's history. From Kenedy, Michael Gibson, 3 News.